Whether you're an old or new MMA fan, you know you're always in the mood for quality knockouts. Let's take a look at some of the best knockouts from 2023 with the most famous fighting names and quality background stories under the lights of the UFC. That's why we won't delay any longer and get straight to the point. UFC 287, Alex Pereira versus Israel Adesanya 2. In addition to his successful climb to the middleweight title and then dominant reign, Israel Adesanya can boast of being a part of one of the biggest and longest rivalries in combat sports. After turns in April at UFC 287 to reclaim the title and finally seek revenge on Poatan. Adesanya entered the match visibly the former champion, who did an excellent job of playing possum. Pereira relaxed in the attack with his famous low hand guard, which Israel, people, Earth, I hope every one of you behind the screens or in the arena can feel this level of happiness just one time in your life. But guess what? You'll never feel this level of happiness if you don't go for something. When they knock you down and try put their foot on your neck, if you stay down, you will never ever get that result. Let's remember that Alex recently became the new light heavyweight champion. So who is up for Pereira versus Adesanya Part 5? UFC 289, Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush. Charles Oliveira's pre-champion has made an effort to get back to winning ways. His opponent at UFC 289 was Beneil Dariush, a fighter with an 8-fight win. Knowing what was at stake, they opened it aggressively. Spectators had the honor of watching both striking and grappling at an extremely high level. However, after Dariush spent most of the round in a more dominant position on the ground, Charles managed to pull away and take the lead in the stand-up. He rocked Dariush with a high kick and then finished him off with a siege of strikes that was reversing the current and hunting down the enemy. Islam Makhachev immediately took to Twitter. Islam, congrats Charles, but still, there's levels to this game. There is no doubt that the rematch will be superb. And the only question is what Charles can adjust in his game plan to defeat someone like Islam Makhachev. UFC Fight Night, Beneil Dariush versus Armen Serkanyan. The year 2023 was merciless for poor Benny, who after losing to Oliveira in June, returns to the octagon against the young and hungry Armen Serkanyan in a fight that, if he wins, would not be a stepping stone he needs. Beneil said, "In terms of status, nothing. I gained nothing from this fight." He wasn't even close to winning though, and Serkanyan only needed a minute to find Dariush with a knee and brutally knocked him out. The lightweight category got a new title contender who will be interesting to watch in the second fight against Makhachev, especially after the first competition match and the impressive performance of Armen. The icing on the cake would be a match for the lightweight title, and the fans would be up for a treat because that is what the young Armenian is aiming for. Armen said in a post-fight interview, "So Islam, he is a different level fighter, but we fought 4 years ago. I was 22 years old. Now I'm 27. So guys, I got improved. And the next fight is going to be a different one. I'm going to knock him out. That's it." UFC 290, Bo Nickal versus Val Woodburn. The dust has been rising for a year around the wrestler gone MMA fighter Bo Nickal, who started his career only last year and is already in the UFC, shining at the Dana White Contender Series and finishing all 5 opponents in the first round. Bo proved at UFC 290 he doesn't need takedowns to win a fight. His opponent was the undefeated Val Woodburn, who came in as a replacement 4 days before the event, trying to excel in his surprise UFC debut. Someone's O had to go, and Bruce Buffer's announcement lasted longer than the match itself. 38 seconds in, Nickal rocks and finishes Woodburn with impressive in and out movement and precision strikes, justifying the smoke rising around him and showing that he's not just a top wrestler. "The hype is real. The hype is real, kids," said Joe Rogan. Considering how young he is and how quickly he's finished his fights so far, we haven't seen him in full glory yet. Bo Nickal, remember his name, ladies and gentlemen. UFC 292, Aljamain Sterling versus Sean O'Malley. Although Sean got a title shot with a controversial decision against Peter Yan, he took the bantamweight championship 100% legitimately, Dana White's dream finally came true in August at UFC 292, where the main event featured Aljamain Sterling and Sean O'Malley in a bantamweight title fight, because who doesn't like matchups between strikers and wrestlers? It was just a question of who would implement their game plan better. The pace was very intense, with a lot of testing from both sides throughout the round. Aljo was trying to corner Sean for a takedown, and Sean was gathering reactions, looking for a knockout space, which he reached at the beginning of the second round. This victory was one of the best title fight performances ever. O'Malley listened to the advice from the corner, was composed, showed great takedown defense, and changed angles to sting Aljamain from the counterattack. Sean cemented him with additional ground and pound to finally become the champion of the bantamweight division. But the real plot is yet to come, as O'Malley will defend his crown for the first time against the man who defeated him once before, Chito Vera, and the bad blood has been brewing between them since the last match. UFC Fight Night, Max Holloway versus Korean Zombie. We had the honor and privilege of watching Korean Zombie perform in absolute wars for over 10 years, living up to the nickname time and time again. Walking out to a zombie song by the Cranberries, the final march to the octagon was chilling. His opponent that night was Max Holloway, who is always more than willing to provide a quality fight, which is why this matchup was top-notch. What we expected, that's what we got. Striking, and a lot of striking. Witnessing an amazing retirement performance by Zombie and the always entertaining Max Holloway. The Blessed led twice in striking through 3 rounds. He even had a near finish with a submission, but Zombie, being Zombie, survived to take the fight to Max, swinging and taunting him. In the 3rd round, Holloway cut him off in one of Zombie's attacks, knocking him out where he stood. Zombie's exit from the octagon with the entrance song was emotional for all of us, including him, especially with the synchronized singing of the crowd. Live by the sword, die by the sword. Zombie came out on the shield like a true warrior, and we need to appreciate him for all the years of fighting. UFC Fight Night, Rioni Bellos versus Umar Namanov. The dominance of the Dagestanis continues, and another member of Abdul Manap's murderous squad proved it to us at the beginning of 2023. The undefeated Umar Nurmagomedov is a serious threat to the bantamweight division with a 16-match unbeaten streak. His opponent was Rioni Bellos, the Brazilian BJJ champion, capable of finishing the match in all possible ways. We're accustomed to the grappling dominance of the Russians, but Umar showed with his style that they have much more than wrestling. Umar dictated the striking range, testing the Brazilian and throwing a lot of front kicks bouncing in the southpaw stance. The match was electric and competitive while it lasted. But at the end of the 1st round, Umar entered with a front knee, and at the same time threw a front hook to shut down Bellos. The end of the match was marked by Nurmagomedov's respectable sporting gesture, where instead of a few additional punches, Umar approached to check the opponent's condition before the referee intervened. Umar, when I punched him, he didn't do anything. I feel bad. I hurt him. That is why I tried to help him. You can say what you want about the Dagestanis, but their respect and martial arts skills are at an inviolable level. UFC 283, Paul Craig versus Johnny Walker. Johnny Walker used to be a serious contender for the light heavyweight title shot, winning performance of the night bonuses and wowing the audience both with his talent and personality. Looking at his score today, we see how unlucky he is because his record looks as colorful as the rainbow. Whatever his record, Walker is a likable guy with strange but effective knockout methods. At the beginning of this year, he found himself in the cage with a high-level grappler, Paul Craig, who is always using every opportunity to take the fight to the ground. The patient start to the match suggested that the fight could be boring, but when has a fight with Johnny Walker ever been boring? Halfway through the 1st round, Craig caught a front kick thrown by the Brazilian, but by holding his opponent's leg, he exposed his head to the blows of Walker, who knocked him out from an incredible position. Johnny was finally back on a winning streak in front of the Brazilian crowd. The only bad thing is that he returned to fight for a no-contest match against Magomed Ankalaev in October 2023. But it will definitely be more than interesting to watch a rematch between the two that will bring one of them closer to the title. Quality knockouts and quality tales. It'll be interesting to watch the development of the stories and careers of these fighters in 2024. And we'll do our best to cover further events for you.